Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel and editorial discussion for 16th April 2022. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the reason why Russian state media says that World War III has already begun. Yesterday, there were reports in the news talking about Russian warship named Moskva having sunk, and there were different reasons attributed to why it sank. Russian state media says that the ship sank because of some reasons, and Ukrainian state media says that they attacked that particular ship. In this discussion, we will understand what has been the offensive from both sides in the last 2 days. Along with that, what has been the significance of Odessa region and what has been the significance of this particular ship Moskva. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and subscribe. Let's discuss. Russian state media came up with a story saying that this ship Moskva had a detonation of bomb inside itself, and because of which there was fire. The ship was to be towed away to coastal area, and while being towed away because of bad weather, the ship sank. On the other hand, Ukrainian state media says that its homegrown Neptune missiles, cruise missiles, two of them were launched and they attacked this battleship known as Moskva. And because of this particular battleship, it lost control and it later sank. Now, after this, Russian state media goes on to say, one of its presenter, Olga, goes on to say that this is almost equitable to initiating a World War III. Now, this loss of Moskva ship is equivalent to not only a military loss, economic loss, but also a major symbolic loss for the whole country. Imagine the whole ship's name being kept after the capital of Russia, Moscow. This was the significance of this particular ship. Russia has already lost innumerable number of weaponry and personnels, aircrafts, and now it has also lost a very important battleship. So let us understand more about this battleship. This ship, called as Moskva, has been the flagship vessel for Russia's Black Sea Fleet. Created in 1783 to become a regional supreme commander in the Black Sea region, this ship was very significant. Imagine this ship becoming a part of the Black Sea Fleet. So suppose this is a Black Sea Fleet. The fleet would ideally carry aircraft carriers. It would carry different kind of ships, for example, destroyer ships, and then cruise ships, and some submarines, and some fast moving vessels, all of them, and they all have different capabilities. Amongst them was Moskva's capabilities to become a, a battle command and capability center, command and control center. It would direct all the other ships to do what they are required to do. Along with that, it would also create a defensive network, a bubble network for all the ships against long range missile attacks. So two purpose for this: one is long range air defense, and the second was command and control center for any defensive capabilities and offensive capabilities. One of the largest and strongest ships that Russia ever built, this has now been lost. The ship significance is such for Russia that it is said that if one is angry, one should not be using these kind of offensive ships. But then possibly using this ship was a mistake. Have a look. This is the Crimean Peninsula, which Russia annexed in the year 2014. And Russia has been trying to create a land bridge to to Russia itself, and that's why it has had immense attacks in Donetsk and Luhansk region. And now you can see a place called as Mariupol being attacked. Now, if Mariupol is taken over, which was also in news yesterday, that there was a lot of offensive from Russia's end in Mariupol, 80% of Ukraine access to Black Sea would be lost. And the 20% access is dependent on a region called as Odessa region. If you see, this is the place called as Odessa. And Russia's battleship, Moscow, was stationed right here. Now, although Russia's battleship Moskva is not for cruise missiles, it is for long distance defense missile, but yet it was placed here. The reason was that it was to give some coverage, defensive coverage, to the fleets which would land, amphibious fleets, 3000 personnel which would land in Odessa region, provided they were more defense support from interior. Russia did not get that interior support, and that is why this ship was still stationed here. Right, so this is the story, and this is where Ukraine created some offensive of its own through its weaponry system and downed this particular ship. Russian ships have not been used very much in this particular war. It has been largely land and some cruise missiles being put through the ships. This has been the war, and also some air capabilities from Russia. Right. So not only that, this ship was created in 1982 and it had old analog radar systems, defense systems were outdated and it was still being used, but also that this was to be used for a possible amphibious landing, which never was happening because of good resistance by Ukraine. So possibly it was a mistake using Moskva right here at this particular time. Now, what is the significance of a place like Odessa? That also becomes very important. But before that, we should also understand that since this was a part of a complete fleet, this ship was to be protected by two sister ships. But ironically, these two sister ships were placed in Mediterranean Sea because of Montreux Convention. Now, what is Montreux Convention? According to this convention, there was a system laid for who would administer these these straits and all the water areas during the times of civilian and war conflicts. Montreux is a place in Switzerland, and in 1936 it was declared that during peace times all ships can transit from any place to the other place. But during times of war, the restriction will be there on the warships. The ships which are stationed or have their house in Black Sea would be stationed right there, and the ships which are meant to be posted in Mediterranean Sea, Eastern region or Western region, they would be posted right there. So Turkey is the country which would restrict the movement of warships in the Straits of Dardanelles and Strait of Bosphorus. That's what is Montreux Convention, and because of this, the two sister ships never came to rescue of this ship or in defense, and this is what happened. But see, is building of such a ship possible again? Such a huge ship. This is where the question of Odessa comes here. Odessa is an important region for industrial development for Ukraine. This is the place where the only shipyard in this region which can build an aircraft carrier is located. This is also a region for building gas turbine engines, which are very much the way in which big ships can be created, which can create thrust. That means power to weight ratio. Bigger ships will have bigger weight, and creating bigger power will need gas turbines. All is located in this particular region, and specifically a place called as Mykolaiv. And Russia wanted to capture all this region. Russia has already been capturing the other side, and if this other side is captured, 80% of Ukraine's access to sea, Black Sea, would be now not there. And if Russia would have captured the other 20%, the region that is Odessa region, the rest 20% also would not have been for Ukraine. And thankfully, this has not happened. And another update from Odessa in this region is that this is a very mineral rich region. It also locates a lot of inland waterways which can connect through Norway, through Norwegian ports, and then Black Sea. So this is the reason that Russia wanted to conquer this area, and now no more because of the loss of such a huge battleship. See, the loss is not just military, the loss is also of morale. The loss is of the reality that Russia cannot act and cannot think of acting without a fear of retribution. That means Russia should start fearing what Ukraine is also capable of doing. And this also creates a question on how the offensive on city of Odessa was attempted and now which has failed. The economic significance of this city and this whole region, Black Sea region, has been enormous for Russia. Have a look in this map. The warm water port access and movement of Russian ships to complete European region through Mediterranean is possible only through the Black Sea region. And having a Black Sea fleet and such an important ship called as Moskva, that would have definitely increased Russia's significance, its diplomacy and power projection in Eastern Mediterranean and Black Sea region. That is no more there. See, this region also acts as a buffer for Russia against NATO forces. All this is lost. Russia also has a port facility in Syria, its ally, and Russia doesn't want NATO forces and European forces and American forces to win against the Syrian regime of Bashar al-Assad. And that's the reason that Russia was using these battleships and naval ships, in fact the complete its Black Sea fleet, for usage against the American forces. And America was actually fearful of these anti-ship missiles that that Moscow had. Apart from creating the land bridge right from these areas, from the Crimean area, the another imperative of this war was to ensure full command and control of Black Sea. But this has not happened. Mariupol and Odessa both had to be conquered, not happening. So this is a major offensive against Russia right now. Now, although this has been a major offensive, but looks like Russia also will start intensifying rocket forces, bombardments, and other kind of cruise missile launches the way it has declared right now. And if you like this video, and if you want to know more about the Neptune missile which Ukraine has fired through decoy technology because of bad weather, this was very much successful. This is the Neptune missile. Just write a comment if you want a video on that. I will create a video on the same. And meanwhile, a small question for you people. Mention 6 utility of marine ports with examples from around the world. So, for example, Mumbai port, a marine port, what is its utility? Similarly, a port called as Colombo port, what is its utility? Just name 6 ports and their different functions with examples, and that will be all for an exercise of your mind. If you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. And if you have questions, just put down in the comment section and we will ensure to get back to you. Thank you for watching.